We have another lawsuit update as it has been announced that 2311 Racing and Farmer Motorsports will once again refile for preliminary injunction. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to the video. As I just said a second ago, we got some pretty massive and major breaking news as it has been announced that 2311 Racing and Farmer Motorsports will refile their motion for preliminary injunction. Here's what Bob Pockers reports. 2311 and Farmer will refile their motion for preliminary injunction. In motion asking to be able to sue a portion of it, they state plaintiffs intend to file a motion for preliminary injunction in a district court with additional evidence of changed circumstances. Let's go back through everything with the lawsuit. Obviously, 2311 Racing and Farmer Motorsports are currently suing NASCAR off of antitrust claims. Jeffrey Kessler is the lawyer for 2311 in Front Row, while Chris Yates is basically the lawyer for NASCAR. About a month or so ago, or actually about a couple weeks ago, they basically started sending out their letters, among other things, going against each other, basically back and forth. And then about 2 weeks ago and during championship week, they basically had their court hearing for the original preliminary injunction. It was confirmed on Friday during the State of Sport address during that week that NASCAR basically had won the original case of the preliminary injunction, and 2311 Racing and Front Row were not granted that original preliminary injunction. And then they said they were going to go ahead and appeal it. Basically, about a day or two after, they confirm, I think on that same day as a matter of fact, that they actually are hoping to get to the discovery phase, while they're also open to once again file for preliminary injunction. And then about a week or so ago, this past week, it was confirmed that 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports are for sure, at least at this point, going to be open teams in 2025. The reason that they're hoping to get the preliminary injunction is so they can be charter teams for the 2025 season. Now, the timeline for the new one has not been released. My best guess is the first court case either will probably take place right before Christmas, maybe in early December, or if NASCAR wants to push it back for the holidays, it will probably be after Christmas and close to the beginning of the year. Keep this in mind, the NASCAR Cup Series season tentatively starts on February 2nd at the Busch Light Clash at the Los Angeles Coliseum. Here's what they want. They want a preliminary injunction granted. Why? So they can compete as charter teams despite not them signing the charter agreement, so they can go ahead and compete as charter teams. Obviously, with the changed circumstances have come into play is that now, of course, they are expanding to a 3-car program for 2311 Racing especially. You, of course, have them basically going ahead and expanding. You've got Riley Herbst joining the team in 2025, which would have gone against the original preliminary injunction. And Front Row, they're also still expected to be a 3-car team in 2025 with Zane Smith joining the program and Noah Gragson also joining in 2025. You also got Bubba Wallace and Tyler Reddick who will be joining up, but it doesn't sound like they're going to have a 4th car, 2311, at least at this point, though it could end up being part-time if they can end up getting this granted. To me, when it comes to this situation with the preliminary injunction, as more information comes out, it is definitely really interesting. And I think both sides have presented their arguments. I think NASCAR, they've had some really good points throughout this lawsuit, while 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports have had their own really good points throughout the lawsuit as well. I think now with the changed circumstances when it comes to the open teams and the fact that they've expanded to a 3-car team, they can now basically provide and stop doing the potential possibility side of things and basically say, this is what is actually going to happen. We're not going to go with the things of potential possibilities of what could end up happening. You're basically going to say, this is what was going to happen. We're going to lose a lot of money. And they should, in my opinion, try to provide actual examples. Like with the Gaunt Brothers, for example. They ran full-time in 2020. And they lost a lot of money. Look at JTG Doherty Racing, which of course is now a Hayek Racing for 2025. They can go ahead and say for the 37 car that Ryan Preece ended up driving, they should go there and say that they lost all money and didn't make any money, and that program had to shut down for the number 37 car, though they then downsized a 1-car team for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for the 2021 season. Well, of course, 22 season, I should say, that charter course went over to basically Spire Motorsports for the 2021 campaign. And also with the changed circumstances, this is really, really huge. Now, obviously, like I mentioned, 2311 and Front Row are going to be expanding most likely to 3-car operations, so there's an outside chance and possibility that Zane Smith could be a part-time driver in 2025 as well. At this point, as more information comes out, I think that it's only going to get crazier and crazier. And I'd have to think that there is going to be a little bit of a timetable that is going to be coming out very, very soon in regards to that. The good news is if you are a 20-11 racing fan or a Farmer Motorsports fan like myself, is at least they will be on the racetrack in 2025. It is unknown, though, at this point if they are going to run the Clash. I'd have to think there's a chance you'll see at least 20-11 racing for sure at the Clash, though that Denny Hamlin did say they had really no comment on that today, speaking to the media, but he also did say that they're not sure if they're going to run the Clash at this time or not. Meanwhile, you look at Farmer Motorsports, and they're also kind of unsure if they're going to be running the Clash also in 2025. We don't know what their plans are at this moment in regards to that. But looking at the case for me, I think that if they can actually present really, really good evidence for which 20-11 and front row, if they can present good enough evidence, I do think they've got a really good chance to win their preliminary injunction this time around. But if they continue doing the coulda things that they could end up happening, it could put them in a really difficult position to win this case for the preliminary injunction. I completely understand why they're going for the preliminary injunction, right? They really need it if they're going to be able to make a lot of money, because open teams don't make as much money as the charter teams. And the charter teams, we know, are getting a major increase of the piece of the pie. They're actually getting 50% of the TV revenue, which is really huge. And while open teams are not making as much money, they are still going to have at least like a little bit more money. I would say they're increasing from about 1 or 2% of the revenue, probably up to about 10 or 15%, kind of like it was in 2021, which will be a little bit better for the teams that are open. That's why I think you're going to see more open teams. But I think one reason you're also not seeing Mark Truex Jr. run the Daytona 500 with 23-11 is because of stuff like this. To me, though, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this progresses as more information comes out about this lawsuit. I think for 20-11 and front row, I absolutely would love to see them go ahead and win it. This tells me they're not going to go for a settlement. I thought there'd be an outside chance of them dropping their appeal. I thought there'd be a chance a couple nights ago that they would try to go ahead and reach a settlement, but that doesn't seem to be the case. And honestly, I like to see chaos, right? I like to see things happen, and I'm really glad to see that this lawsuit is not going to be ending, at least for the foreseeable future. Because if they can get the preliminary injunction, they won't be affected throughout the lawsuit. If they reach the discovery phase, which is certainly a major possibility where NASCAR might have to open up their books and show their finances, NASCAR will not be a major fan of that, and they're not going to like that move if they have to go ahead and open up their books. That's one thing they really do not want to do, is open up their books and show their finances and see what they're doing, because I think there will be a lot of really big, bad information that would end up getting revealed in the lawsuit if they do get to the discovery phase. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going into the future, and we'll see as more information comes out. I expect the court schedule to be released once again. Will they have a new judge? That's certainly a possibility. We know that Judge Frank Whinney was trying to dismiss himself from the case, so we could end up seeing something like that happening where we see them go ahead and try to dismiss it. We do know at least that now they're going to be an open team currently at the moment, but they could basically not be an open team. It could get their charters back because Denny Hamlin's still unsure what's going on with the Stewart-Haas Racing charter, because them in front row are expected to acquire the SHR charters for 2025 as well. So, that is going to be today's breaking news report. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's episode. Do you think 23-11 and front row have a chance to win the preliminary injunction once again, or do you think it's not going to work out for them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we're going to be doing early NASCAR Cup Series playoff predictions for 2025. Talk about drivers, of course, like Kyle Busch and Shane Van Gisbergen, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, you name it. We're also, of course, going to have NASCAR Cup predictions dropping on Sunday, and there will be a silly season update or top 10 free agents video potentially releasing this week, and talk about drivers like Eric Almirola, Chandler Smith, you name it, and Connor Zilla, Haley Deegan, all those people that are part of this silly season aura, and even Junior Motorsports as well. We might talk about that, and Carl Edwards and Kurt Busch as well. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.